Has been so far. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we are celebrating here as Team USA, the USA team, 2-0 victory over Australia, thus guaranteeing them a spot in the knockout round. And of course, depending on what happens, I believe, coming up in a match a little bit later, and that will decide whether or not they actually win Group D. Plus, we've got one other game underway already. I believe Scotland and Morocco have just started. So a lot going on with the World Cup, plenty of Major League Baseball, a Father's Day weekend, not to mention the U.S. Open. So a little something for everybody here, Tom. But Team USA gets it done in pretty dominant fashion, I must admit.
It was. They came out early and often with scoring and, really controlled things. Australia, certainly a good team, definitely gave them a challenge, especially as the game went on. Physical game from Australia. And again, to your point, things could be locked up in the group tonight before we actually see them play that third and final game, as we already have a goal on the board for Morocco, a minute and 15 seconds in. And that is a quick strike for them. Coming into this game, Morocco was sitting around a minus 150-ish favorite on the money line. They immediately jumped to minus 600. And I think this will give us a good chance to get to my favorite bet for this game, which would be Brahim Diaz to record a goal or an assist. I don't think he scored on that one, but I would love to know if he has an assist on that. He is a player, plays for Real Madrid, consistent throughout qualifying for them. Also in the African Cup of Nations, he went through a stretch where he scored a goal in 5 straight games. He's not a scorer for Madrid, but he plays a different role on the country team for Morocco.
Yeah, Sabari, I believe, was the one with and a heck of a goal, too, by the way. It was not an easy angle from just inside the corner there, but perfect spot, and that's all that matters. So 1-0 Morocco versus Scotland in here. And you had mentioned, you and I were talking before the show, you and a lot of people, in fact, I know talking to a bunch of guys in the risk room at some of the sports books today, Morocco winning, not great for them. They got a lot of liability on Morocco in this game. And you had mentioned yourself, you jumped on them real early before the World Cup even started. But they were a trendy dog, without a doubt. A lot of people thought that it was a very underrated team coming into World Cup play.
Yeah, I've been on Morocco since the World Cup pool draw happened back in December. And this is a team that has plenty of experience. Last World Cup, they made it to the semifinals, right? They beat Spain in penalties. They beat Portugal. They end up losing to France, which I don't think is like that big of a knock to them. France is amazing. They're a team that has top-end talent. They play phenomenal defense. And really, that's what you're looking for. It's great to have a lot of offense. They are traditionally known as a better defensive team compared to their offense. But once we saw the groups, it was a very clean path to them essentially advancing out of the group. They could be as good or slightly worse than Brazil. We just saw them tie. They're better than Scotland. They're better than Haiti. Them advancing is a very realistic thing, as at least that's what I was thinking when I bet on them back in December. So they're off and running right now. They have great offense, great defense, and it really comes down to where they finish in the group, either first or second.
Yeah, and Scotland, listen, I think very much, I thought both teams to score was not a bad look in this match today, because it's not like Scotland has got a problem scoring. I believe they've, netted goals in 8 of their last 10 matches. So, we got Haiti coming up against Brazil a little bit later also. And that opening win against Haiti, shall we say, wasn't exactly dominating in any way, shape, or form, which makes the Haiti and Brazil game coming up interesting here. But normally, Scotland's a team that I would never worry about a clean sheet of them being shut out in any way, shape, or form, because it did feel like goals might be coming here in this one.
Yeah, and I would say, to your point with the Haiti game, they look pretty good against Scotland. The expected goals were tied at 1.05. Haiti actually had more possession compared to Scotland. When you look at the shots, they were all shots on goal were equal. Shots were in favor of Haiti. So Scotland came away with the win. Congrats to them as their first win in 30, 35 years, whatever it was at the World Cup. But Haiti actually played pretty well, and them looking to be a bit of a tougher out than some people may realize.
Yeah, it's and that's going to be interesting coming up against Brazil, and then I believe late night we'll have Turkey be center stage because you had mentioned with Team USA already winning. That means an opportunity here, depending on what happens with Paraguay and Turkey. They could just wrap up. Could you imagine in First of all, it felt like 9 years since they last played a soccer match there, Tom, with I can't remember the last time that they were on the pitch, but this win here today, dominant fashion, get the shutout, and I believe either a Paraguay win or draw pretty much locks up the group. And boy, there were a lot of people that were running to the window backing Team USA to win Group D, and it doesn't look like it might take very long, although Turkey's going to be a tough out for Paraguay tonight.
Right, and this would put any teams, as we saw last night with Mexico winning, if the U.S. are able to do the same, it puts them in a very advantageous position where, for example, Christian Pulisic did not play for Team USA today. They don't even have to worry about him coming back in the next game. We get that much extra time. You can rotate in some younger players or players that didn't play just so they can get some run, knowing that they are potentially a viable sub once we get to the knockout round, so they get some experience. And it's going to be a benefit for any team. So I think Turkey comes away with the win, but it's really a closer toss-up than people may realize. Paraguay certainly didn't look good in the opening game against Team USA, but they're going to be up against it, and they can't give up the first goal, because if they do, I think Turkey can win that game 2-1 or 3-1, and they'll be in control most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, Paraguay didn't look good at all. 4 goals, 6 shots on target. That is not going to work if they are going to get it done against Turkey here. But that's going to be your late game. So 3 more games on tap, including Morocco up 1-0 versus Scotland in their match here. But Team USA, you got to give them credit here. And it's been a tournament so far of big name guys that we are household names across the board. And you got to wonder, is that going to continue here, Tom? Is it going to be Mbappe? Is it going to be Messi? Is it going to be Harry Kane? Is it, Erling? Is it going to be all of these guys that we're just going to keep hearing about over the next week or so until we at least get to the quarterfinals? Because the stars are, they're shining so far in the World Cup, and I guess that should be expected.
Right. I think it will, especially when we're looking forward, projecting ahead for the next set of games. Argentina plays Austria. You think that Messi can absolutely get a goal in that game. Yep. France is playing Iraq, so you think that Mbappe can get another one in that one. Norway's taking on Senegal. So again, we're looking at goals for all of the top players for this. The one player I would look at a little bit further down is what we get from Jonathan David on Canada, because he could easily pour in another goal or two. And I'm not saying he's going to end up winning it, but if we look at him to at least be in contention, you have a good number there, and you can still have action on still one of the top guys at a plus 300 or 400 number, and take one more longer shot at a guy that's plus 1,000.
Yeah, and there's some of these markets still plenty of value with some big name guys. I mean, you got to be in it to win it. But the question is, when you're looking at, the golden boot or the golden ball in these types of different markets, you got to have game. Like, you got to keep playing, which means ultimately you got to keep scoring at the same time. So there's still a lot of soccer and a lot to be determined over the next couple of weeks. But Team USA right now sitting pretty at 2-0. And boy, oh boy, more soccer to come. We'll have much more as we're just getting started. In-game live game day continues on the grid.
Hey there, It's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on this Friday. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we've got our eyes on the second match in the World Cup here today between Morocco and Scotland. Morocco, quick goal to go up 1-0 here early. And I got to tell you, Tom, I'm sitting here saying what an offensive team Scotland can be. I don't think they've gotten a shot on goal yet. They just can't seem to keep Morocco out of their end. Morocco just blew a golden opportunity in front of the net there. They could not corral the ball there to control it, but they've already had a couple of opportunities. Scotland will pick it up at some point, won't they?
I would like to think so, because right now, this is the time that we would say, oh, the ice is tilted if we were talking about hockey, but the field is tilted. We're looking at nearly 80-20 in possession. The big chances, all the shots, at least the shot attempts, are coming from Morocco. Yeah, they didn't capitalize on the one chance right in front of the goal just a minute or two ago, but the pressure has been all towards the Scotland end, and they really can't maintain possession once they get across midfield. So I would like to think that they can reel things in, settle in, start getting some quality chances towards the Morocco end, because if it's going to be like this the entire game, it's going to be all Morocco, and they're just going to be peppering the goalie, and one of them will eventually break through.
Yeah, I agree with you here big time. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Liked the both teams to score. I think that's still a pretty good opportunity. I don't think Scotland's going to get shut out, despite the fact that they can't seem to get the ball anywhere near Morocco's goal, but plenty of soccer left to go here as we're about 14, 15 minutes in right now to that match. Of course, 2 more still coming up a little bit later. Brazil and Haiti will be up next. And then, of course, Turkey and Paraguay, which is of interest because with Team USA already winning, not only have they advanced to the knockouts, but they have an opportunity if Paraguay can pull off the upset or at least a draw, then chalk, Team USA here in just 2 games and wrapping up Group D. So those matches coming up a little bit later. Also, some not great news, by the way, in Major League Baseball came out earlier. Looks as if the Royals didn't have enough problems. It looks like, Bobby Witt Jr. is heading to the IL, Tom, and that's, just when you thought they might have turn it around, start hitting, he gets hurt last night, and now apparently he is headed to the IL, which is not great for what has already been a disappointing season for the Kansas City Royals. But another one going down here. Not good news right now.
Yeah, he's on the long list of stars that are apparently getting hurt. Vladdy got hurt earlier today. Their loss where they got blown out by the Cubs. Trout went on the IL yesterday, which we all knew was coming at some point. We hate to say it, but it's the truth. The Royals got the offense going last night, and they were hitting the ball all over the place. Where they had like 4 doubles in, was that the 3rd inning it was for them? Yeah. But, Sal Perez has had a bit of a down year. They're going to need, and they lost Vinny P a week and a half ago to the IL. Yep. They're going to really need Jack Caglione, Carter Jensen. They're going to need these guys to step up and really carry a lot of the offense. Michael Garcia has been in and out of the lineup over the past month. Some of their top players, this is not even to mention the pitching issues that they've had. So I was hopeful that the Royals were going to be a wild card-ish team, but it's getting late early for them, just where things stand. I will say that division is entirely up for grabs. The Guardians lost Jose Ramirez last week. He's going to be out for a while. The Tigers have had immense issues in their pitching staff and their offense, and Skubal is potentially going to be traded. So the division is wide open. That's the only thing going for them. They just need to get healthy, as everyone does.
Stop me if you've heard this. Mike Trout also has already injured his hamstring, and now he's on the shelf. So no Judge. And you talked about Vladdy. I tend to think Vladdy might have been hurt already, given the fact that, what has he got, 4 home runs on the season? Not great. And now he's going to be on the shelf for a little while longer. But look at the names that are on the card here tonight. Mizorowski, DeGrom, Skubal, Cam Schlittler. I mean, some of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, all at obnoxious prices, at least in the first 5. Not so much the full game, but a lot of big arms going here tonight. One of them is going to get upset. The question is, which one is it going to be?
Really, really good point that we're looking at extreme prices for some of these pitchers, which is always tough. When full game, you maybe don't want to back them. You look to back them in the first 5, but is that really bettable at minus 250, minus 275, whatever it might be? I don't think so. If you gave me one of these top tier pitchers and I get them at minus 150 on the first 5, I would be looking there. But obviously that's just, we're talking about something that doesn't exist. I would love to get Cam Schlittler at minus 150. That's not the case. I would look, if I had to pick one, frankly, the Braves are the best team and they're getting plus money at home. Now, listen, I don't think that Martin Perez is a good pitcher at all. But if we're going to be banking on something, I'm banking on the hitting weather coming through, the Braves getting some runs across the board. And listen, I don't expect them to win this game 2-1. If they win this game, it's going to be 6-4 or 7-5, somewhere around there, just because the offense will shine for the Braves, and that's how they get across.
Yeah, been a rough, couple of weeks here for the Braves, too. The bats have gone quiet. They hurt. Kuna got hurt. So I don't know that Mizorowski is the guy that I want to bounce back or think that I can bounce back with, but time will tell. The Brewers have been hitting the ball really, really well. And second start, by the way, for Skubal, and you mentioned he's on his way to another team in all likelihood, correct? Why is he pitching? I mean, he didn't look great. He looked rusty last week in his first bat back. But what are we going to get from him tonight, do you think?
I was looking at his outs prop along with his strikeout prop, just thinking, is they're going to ease him back in? They also have to worry about his longevity if they truly want to keep him healthy because they're going to be trading him. Part of me thinks he could go under his outs prop, but over his strikeouts prop, just because he's still Skubal and the White Sox still strike out a ton. So they could strike out a ton, but they just don't allow him to go deeper into the game. And also the pitch count becomes an issue, and they just pull him just due to team safety or, player health, so they can still have a trade asset.
Let me just say this right now. If Skubal is somehow traded to the Dodgers, there will be an absolute stoppage of work coming up next. We will not be getting baseball anytime soon if that happens here. In-game live, an update with Scotland and Morocco next here on the Grid. All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio, and we've got an update here at the World Cup Group C underway right now with Scotland taking on Morocco right around the 23rd minute or so. 1-0 still. Morocco, early goal. Great goal, too, by the way, from just inside the corner there. I mean, fantastic, but Scotland still having a hard time here trying to get anything, any sort of offense going. And I don't think I've seen Scotland and Morocco's side of the field yet. Have you, Tom?
Hardly. They have no shots on goal, no attempts from outside the box, no attempts from inside the box, no expected goals, when we're looking at that. But wow. It has been, I don't want to say a masterclass by Morocco in terms of controlling the game, but that's what it's shaping up to be as we're approaching the hydration break here, about 23, 24 minutes. Scotland do have a free kick coming up now, just over midfield, but it has really not been the way they, I assume, wanted things to go, because they've been on their back foot and the possession is starting to return to their favor a bit, but it's just not quality in any capacity.
No, took 71 seconds for Morocco to score to open it up, and they've had a couple of real chances since then, but have not been able to cash out here. But 1-0 here, 24. I think we got about 24 minutes in. So we'll see where it goes from here. Of course, Team USA handled business earlier today with a 2-0 win over Australia. And listen, if you were a betting man, Tom, they could win the group tonight, depending on what Paraguay and Turkey do coming up with the last game. But so far, so good. But we know as this World Cup moves on, competition's going to get a little more, a little tougher. But I don't know what you were thinking or expecting from Team USA, but I got to tell you what we've seen through 2 matches. There's not a lot not to like here. So this could be a new era, I guess, in Team USA men's soccer.
A lot of people are saying that this is the new golden generation. This is the best team that Team USA has put forth in really the past 20 years. To me, I think it truly comes down just to the matchup that they get in the first round of 32. It's obviously not the round of 16 anymore. It's the round of 32. That's solely what it comes down to. If they get a favorable opponent, they can win 1 game, maybe win 2, again, if they have a good path going forward. But I just don't know how much top-end talent plus experience that they have. They have some goal scorers, and they have some good pieces, but do they have a fully complete team that can, A, match the scoring of another elite team and have the composure as they go throughout multiple rounds?
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because the match coming up, Brazil, I believe, taking on Haiti, which is interesting because Haiti and Scotland had played in the first match, but, Morocco had played Brazil. There's still a lot of folks I talked to believe that Brazil was undervalued coming into this one, but it's not the Brazil of decades ago, right? They're not exactly, they're not what France is considered now or England. They're not. But doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing some damage, but I got to see them win convincingly against, I think, what's going to be a very tough out in Haiti for them coming up.
You could also make the same case about Spain, where, this is not the same golden generation that Spain has had. And listen, it's great to dominate a game, but if you don't come away with the win, you don't come away with the win. And, Brazil, I think this is going to be I don't want to say like a checkpoint for them or check marker for them in terms of how they look, but they need to come out and win convincingly. If you are a Brazil backer in any way and you are backing them to reach the final, the semifinals, whatever it might be, you need to truly believe, because they did not look great against Morocco. They kind of got stifled a bit. If they don't come out and win convincingly against Haiti, the draw for them will be difficult, because there's a real chance that they finish second in the group. So therefore, they're going to have to face a tougher team. So whether it's Brazil or Spain or anyone that anyone out there is looking at back, you need to be convinced, and these next games are going to tell you that.
Big time here, because they did you know, they, again, controlling possession. I think they had 6 shots early on in that game against Morocco, but we're watching Morocco dominate Scotland here, and it's only 1-0, but I would anticipate that Brazil likely comes out. Yeah, they're gonna be on fire a little bit. We'll have more from the World Cup, though, when in-game live game day continues on the grid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. You know, this guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as we're keeping an eye on the Group C match right now between Morocco and Scotland. It's in Boston, and I understand they don't have a whole lot of beer. They're running out of beer in Boston, if you can believe that. The Scotland fans, Tom, are just... they enjoy their soccer and their beer, apparently, and they are flooding the streets and the pubs in Boston right now. But something tells me they'll figure out a way to get more beer into Boston. But they better figure out, Scotland, how to generate some offense, because I think Morocco's 1 goal away from this thing might be over. I mean, this is not a good showing by Scotland. Or maybe Morocco is just that good right now. I don't know, but it only took him 71 seconds to score in this game.
I would say it's probably a combination of both, where Morocco is potentially that good and Scotland is just getting outclassed in every aspect. There's nothing to suggest Scotland has played even remotely well. They have 0 expected goals. They have 0 shots. They have 0 big chances created. They have no shots, period. It's not even just shots on target. They have 0 shots at all. They have no attempts, again, inside or outside the box. Everything is so skewed, so heavily in favor of Morocco. It's tough to say that Scotland will get back into it. The answer would be is a counterattacking opportunity for Scotland and really have to open things up in order to take some shots down the field, especially once we get into the second half. I will say that does leave an equal opportunity for Morocco to counterattack the counterattack, which Scotland will be caught on the back foot. And again, they need the goals. They just need shots to begin with.
Yeah, they need to generate something here at about the 33-minute mark right now in the first half. And we mentioned, of course, more Group C coming up with Haiti and Brazil. Haiti played Scotland, although Scotland didn't exactly. Kind of shocking that I thought it was a kind of a lackluster effort in that first one as well. But Morocco's proven to be a pretty good challenge here. But Brazil, I'm looking at some of these numbers going back with Brazil, and we're laughing here because I believe if you go back the last 13 group stage matches in the World Cup, they've lost a total of one match in that stage here, dating back to 2010. So they tend to do very well early on in the group stages, although they weren't great in that first one against Morocco. But they also don't appear to give up a whole lot of goals. Defensively is always what the bread and butter for Brazil is. So if we can't trust Haiti to score here, oh boy, I don't know. Maybe it's a laddering up situation because you and I were just talking. Brazil, the point differential, it matters in this tournament here. And right now, they don't have any. They don't have a point differential. This is a good opportunity for this Brazil team coming up.
It really is, but it also comes down to how do we find a way to back them? Just because some of the prices on this are through the roof, and there's no, you're not gonna be betting on minus 1,000 money line. Personally, I like Rafinha for 2+ shots on goal. He is one of their top players. One of the better players for Barcelona this past season. 2+ shots on goal is minus 115. I think that is what they need to do. They need to come out with their hair on fire and really just ramp up the offensive pressure to put this game out of reach and put it out of reach early. I was looking, can we do a halftime, full time, which would be betting on the first half outcome and the final game outcome. And you obviously need both to win in order for you to win the bet. Brazil for halftime, full time is minus 250. Now that minus 250 is still a bit of a steep price, but it's obviously better compared to minus 1,000. But again, you could win one and not win the other. They could go up 2-0 at halftime and then give up one goal in the second half and also score one goal, and they win game 3-1, and they've been in control the whole time, but then you ultimately end up losing it. So I think it's about finding an alternate way to back them.
Yeah, I agree with you. 15 shots Haiti had, I believe, in that opener against Scotland, but only 2 were actually on target. So they might have a hard time scoring here. So those props along those lines. I mean, how many saves are we looking at for the Brazilian goalie there? I'm thinking he might have a clean night here. It might not be an awful lot. I got to tell you, the Morocco goalie here, how many saves does he have? He might only have 1 the entire game at this rate right now, Tom.
I don't think he has any thus far for Scotland. They still don't have any shots on goal. The question becomes is how many saves do we think the Haiti goalkeeper will have? Because Scotland had 9 shots. They only had 2 shots on goal. Granted, Haiti only had 2. But if we're thinking that 9 shots for Scotland, 2 on goal, can we pencil in 14 for Brazil and 4 shots on goal for Brazil? Can we get to a 5th to get minus 135 for Haiti goalkeeper for 5+ saves? That's what we want to look to back. We want to think that Brazil's going to come out and pour on the offensive pressure.
And they need, I think it's a good opponent at the right time. So if what we think is what we're going to get from Brazil, this could be a very lopsided game, I think, early and often. That one is coming up. And then, of course, the last game is going to be Portugal and Turkey. What are we going to get from them? We know if Portugal can put it together, they're going to have to play better than they did against Team USA. But can they? Can they actually at least get us a draw? Because a draw allows Team USA to win the group. So that would be your Group D winner. Those of you that back Team USA to win Group D, that would be a ticket you can cash here. So if for no other reason, right, what the World Cup brings, Tom, are some great hedging opportunities here. Because if you got a ticket on Team USA winning the group, you can now you got an opportunity here tonight. Because I think you need the win or a draw, and that's it. They'll win. Anything outside of a Turkey outright victory coming up but they're not going to be an easy out in any way, shape, or form here.
Yeah, a lot of people are expecting Turkey to finish second in this group behind USA. They are a solid team. You know, like when we are looking at this game, it's vastly different than the others. Like the underdog's only plus 280 for Paraguay. Turkey's only plus 100. It's not like there's some massive favorite at minus 500 or minus 1,000 as we see in some of these other matches. I think this is a match where Turkey will come out and score first. They will be in control the entire game. It just really comes down to how I want to back them. I think the plus 100 money line is fine. The double chance, which would be Turkey and draw, is minus 390. That is just an obscene price. There's no way we can possibly bet that. First half, over half a goal is minus 260. I don't want to back that, even though I do think that Turkey comes out and scores first. And that's why I almost find that the World Cup is interesting. And part of it is, you know, to my mind, goes a little bit like baseball. Like there's more than one way to skin a cat. You know, when you look at baseball, you could take a, RBI prop, you could take a total base prop, you could take just a single, just a double, whatever it might be. You have to do the same kind of digging when it comes to soccer, where you can look to back a team, but it doesn't have to be just on their money line.
Correct. And there's a lot of different ways to do that in the markets. I mean, if you just go to your, your favorite sports book there, open it up, Tom, and look in the amount of different ways that you can bet any given match on any day is crazy. And even, I got news for you, the live betting, also a whole lot of fun, too, on being able to jump in. And I'd be very interested to see, once we get to the half here in this Scotland-Morocco game, if Scotland does not have a shot on goal by the time we get there, I think we're going to have to start diving into some of those second half numbers, Tom, and figure out how much work is that goaltender Morocco really going to get in the second half. But again, if it's only a 1-0 game, it's going to be a very interesting next, shall we say. You only got about 7 minutes before the break and whatever extra time they give. So a lot more soccer to be played here. We have got you covered with updates from around the World Cup as in-game live game day continues.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen, too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Tom Vecchio as the World Cup off and running. Been a great day for Team USA as they handled their business in match one here today. 2-0 gets it done over Australia, which puts them not only in the round of 32 there, Tom, but gives them an opportunity to win Group D simply by waiting to see what happens tonight with the Turkey and Paraguay game. But we got a Scotland and Morocco game going on coming up in about 43 minutes here. First half almost done, and you and I are laughing, and I think they just finally got some sort of shot on goal against Morocco. But Scotland has been anemic. I don't know it does it justice on how bad Scotland has been offensively through 40-plus minutes of this match right now.
Yeah, I don't know if we can even say bad offensively or anemic when there is no offense. It's like they've had the ball. Like, they've had the ball a little. I mean, what possession is sitting at 66-34 for Morocco. Scotland, again, still has no shots, not even shots on target, just 0 shots. The offense is like they're getting to 75% of the field, and then they're just getting stifled. They're not even creating chances. And, that's what, this is what we saw the other day between Bosnia and Switzerland. And it finally opened up in the last 15, 20 minutes of that game, and Switzerland won that 4-1, I believe, was over Bosnia. But there's just no offensive flow from Scotland. At least you would think, okay, they're creating chances. Maybe there's something we can buy into the second half. Maybe they can get a goal across the board for both teams to score. I'm not encouraged by anything they've done because they haven't done anything. Now, they have another free kick for the third or fourth time in attacking territory, but they're not doing anything with them.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. This is going to be interesting here. I know there were some people, although it looks like they're going to have at least some sort of shot here before we get to the break. A header goes nowhere it was supposed to, so Morocco survives that. But I got to see a little bit more effort. It doesn't feel like Scotland has all that much urgency right now, right? It feels like they are just kind of happy to be there. I mean, they already have 3 points, I believe, right? So even a tie would put them in a strong position to qualify for the knockout stage, which I guess it's a marathon, not a sprint, right, Tom? I guess maybe we have to look at it that way with some of these teams also.
Yeah, but here's the issue. Let's say they lose this game, right? And they have 3 points when after 2 games. That means Morocco's going to have 4 because they already have 1 in pocket. If they come away with this win, they'll have 4. Presumably, Brazil being minus 1,000 favorites, they will beat Haiti. That means Brazil will have 4 points. Morocco then plays Haiti to close things out, and Scotland has to play Brazil. So they're going to be up against it because they're going to be heavy underdogs versus Brazil, and Morocco's going to be a favorite against Haiti. And that's going to be a spot where now then would come down to goal differential, but Morocco could win the group and Brazil would come in second, and then Scotland's just hung out to dry, even though they got the win to open things up. So the offensive urgency needs to be drastic, especially in the first 15 minutes of the second half.
I'll tell you this. I mean, coming into the game, a clean sheet, basically Morocco to keep a clean sheet, winning this game and shutting them out was about plus 110, 115. So we're going to have to see a little something else here. Otherwise, that's kind of the plus money aspect of what you're looking at, because I don't know, maybe they took Morocco for granted. I don't know how you take for granted. I think they were ranked 7th by FIFA, heading into this. So I don't even know how you would, in fact, take them lightly, but that's what we've got going on right now, as looks like they gave him 5 extra minutes here in the first half, but that is getting ready to come to a close. We'll see if maybe it looks like they're starting to pick it up here a little bit. It should be interesting, those numbers in the second half, Tom. We'll take a look at those for sure to see if we can find anything. But in the meantime, 2 more games coming up here in the World Cup. A huge slate of Major League Baseball here tonight. Not to mention, I think we had, I think the Cubs are still scoring right now against the Blue Jays. Didn't Gausman pitch today? What happened? Did he not show? 16-2 was the final score?
Yeah, it got started early with a Carson Kelly grand slam for the Cubs.
Wow.
There was wind blowing in at Wrigley. You would think that would be a bit of a pitching environment, especially with Gausman on the mound, but went off the rails very early. And when it rains, it pours because Gausman got blown up. 16-ish runs. You're having position players pitch, and Vladdy gets hurt for the Blue Jays. And this is on top of a litany of injuries they've already had this year. Scherzer, not that he's Max Scherzer anymore, but he got scratched earlier in the week. Addison Barger is still out. Alejandro Kirk has been on and off the IL. So there have been a significant amount of injuries for the defending AL League champions, and it has been a very slow start to the season for them.
Say that, no kidding here. And by the way, it took all of 2 batters for Skubal to give up a run here in the top of the first. The White Sox up 1-0. Randall Grichuk with a home run, a 1-out home run there, solo shot. And I think he's had pretty good numbers against him, if I can recall. But he's 1-0. And that's there coming to the bottom of the first. Detroit sitting at 30 and 44. Many people believe they're going to be sellers, which means I don't know that you have to market Skubal. But he struck out the side after giving up the home run, by the way. He struck out the side. But do we have to market Skubal to trade him here? Because it doesn't feel like Detroit's going anywhere anytime soon.
They aren't, and it really just comes down to the best package that they can possibly get combined with Skubal trade preference destination. Are they willing to work with him? Because any team could offer them a package, but obviously they're not going to trade Skubal, or he presumably doesn't want to be traded to a non-contender. Can they get something back and make him happy, and hopefully end things amicably?
Oh boy, it's going to be interesting, this trade deadline, especially with a lot of big name injuries for teams here. So a lot undecided. Looks like we're getting ready to go to intermission here. First half done. Scotland, Morocco. We'll get you caught up with everything as in-game live game day continues on the ground.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in here in game live game day as we look to wrap up our number one here together and the World Cup center stage, and they are at the break here in match number 2 today. We already watched Team USA get it done 2-0 there. They are not only advancing to the knockouts, but they could get a little help tonight from Paraguay versus Turkey, and voila, they are your Group D champs. But we did see Scotland make a little bit of a comeback here in about the final 5 or 6 minutes of the first half because they had nothing offensively going. Morocco scores 71 seconds into it here, Tom. So the question is, do we see a little more urgency out of Scotland here in the second half? Because it's apparent they can. Is this maybe the second half might be the time to look towards Scotland?
Great question. And I always like to look at these second half lines to try and find discrepancies of, what we're going to be getting and really just trying to find the value. So, for example, the both teams to score market, both teams to score, yes, is plus 135, no is minus 180. But if both teams score, that means Scotland gets on the board, then it'd be 1-1. But the tie is sitting at plus 460. Now, we could see a situation where Morocco score and then Scotland scores and Morocco ends up winning 2-1. So the tie doesn't come through, but both teams to score does come through. So I'm just trying to, work through some of these different options. I will also say both teams to score, if you were to bet no on that, would be minus 180. And obviously, some people may want to lay that, may not. But if you also look to under 1.5 goals, that's, which is we're at 1 goal right now, just to be clear, it's 1-0 Morocco. So if under 1.5 hits, that means no one else scores for the rest of the game. That's plus 300. So always trying to find these different market discrepancies. Now, again, you could lose the bet. Both teams don't score because, Morocco ends up winning 2-0, et cetera, et cetera. But look for these different markets because there's so many different ways to skin a cat when it comes to soccer and betting on it. I would like to think what we saw in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes from Scotland will carry over into the first 15 minutes because if they can't keep that going to start the second half, it will be desperate times for them as we approach the final portion of the second half.
I agree with you. And we've got next matchup is going to be same here with this Group C with Haiti taking on Brazil. I think you and I are on the same page. We're not running to the window to lay, minus 1,100 with Brazil to win, but Brazil's going to win. The question is by how many, and feels like maybe even the spread here and the goals is not about lay 1.5, lay 2. It just feels like I don't know that Haiti scores in this one. Shall we say it that way?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the shots come early and often for Brazil. They have to. I'm looking to Rafinha for 2+ shots. 2+ shots on target. I should specify that there's the different markets. The 2+ shots and 2+ shots on target are different when it comes to betting on soccer. 2+ shots for Rafinha is like minus 1,500. But 2+ shots on target is minus 115. So that's where I'm going to be looking. He's one of their top players, man in the middle for them. Essentially, he will be generating a lot of their offense. I would look there. If you want to alt them to minus 2.5, knowing that Morocco looks good, knowing that Morocco also has a game against Haiti in their back pocket, essentially, coming up next week. Brazil knows that they're going to need potentially goal differential to separate them from first to second.
We've got Turkey and Paraguay is going to be your last game of the night, your last match here. And I believe this is in Santa Clara tonight out on the West Coast. Does Paraguay get it done for us, Tom?
I don't think so.
That's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. I think that Team USA is going to have to wait just a little bit longer here. Good news is, though, I think it's just a matter of time before Team USA gets it done. But that is your World Cup slate. By the way, Detroit 2-1 now over the White Sox, and Fetty's not even in yet, Tom. So I think we're good there. What's your play of the night on the diamond? You got one?
It was Cade Cavalli for the Nationals because he got, over 4.5 hits by the Rays, but he got scratched. So I'm not going to be looking there. I'm looking to William Contreras on the Brewers for 2+ hit run RBI. I love that market because anything can happen. You can have sac flies and you can have walks that come around for runs. So Contreras on the Brewers, 2+ HRR going up against Martin Perez, not good. That's sitting at -136 for Contreras.
Love it. Give me DeGrom, -155, somewhere in that ballpark.
Okay.
I'll take DeGrom to get it done against the Padres. That'll do it for us. You'll have more in-game live game day coming up here on the grid. Enjoy.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson in for Craig. He will be back on Monday, and you're seeing me not from normally the beautiful confines of our studio.